Alrighty guys, well welcome to the Roadkill Podcast. My name is Laurel, and we have Mr. Mark Roadkill down there on the end.
Hi!
This is my Forrest Gump wave.
I was on a microphone talk show once.
Mama said these are my special shoes. Mama said these shoes take me anywhere.
Speaking of which brings us to Mr. Dan.
Hi.
And Ms. Cori Pepin here.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast, guys. This week's episode is brought to you by Roadkill Custom Drum Company and Commercial Refrigeration for AC and refrigerating needs. Got to get that plug in.
Commercial with a K.
Yeah, commercial with a K. You see right there on the hat in the front. You can see it. But yeah, we got to give them a big shout out. They bought us a real big, nice dinner tonight.
Any refrigerators big enough to hide a body? Can I say that?
Go for it. We can ask them.
I don't know if that's what they want.
Pretty big butt. Moving on.
They do huge walk-ins, so, you know.
Oh, yeah. Multiple bodies if you really want it at that point.
You know.
Swinging meat. Well, you know, I hear they've been telling stories about me.
Oh, I didn't know they were talking about your dancing name.
Oh my goodness.
I told you I'm going to get canceled in like 10 seconds. It's not even going to take long.
Dude,
it's
like,
not even going to take
bring
long.
it on. Like, so the one thing I will say to all that is that
one of the cancel us if we're not getting paid.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's not true. I'm going to tell you a story. If you stream one of my songs 250 times, I will get $1.
There you go.
So I'm making money.
200 more times.
And when I'm with Evil Bill, it's $1 that I split 3 ways.
Let me go. I'll just go give you $1.
But the system's not rigged. The system's not rigged.
No, that's gonna be. We were talking about this when you were here for the dinner jam too. We're talking a little bit about how much the industry has made it difficult for honest musicians to make a real living anymore.
The only people who are making a good living with music right now are legacy artists that already have a career.
Yeah.
If you're up and coming, it's so stacked against you. You know, like I'm a union musician, and even they're constantly fighting to try and get us a fair share of money. It's staggering. Ironically, the people that pay us the most are YouTube and Apple Music, according to our analytics.
Not through YouTube directly.
Not through YouTube directly. I found a workaround where if I release my music through DistroKid releases it through YouTube, and you still get your money. But if you don't do that, if you're trying to do it the old school way of, you know, I've got 1,000 followers and so much views, like it takes forever to get there.
But it's still like 0.0006.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you have to sell 1,000.
But it's like 1,006 less than the other one.
So it has to be used 1,000 times to get your penny.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I'm gonna expose the system.
Expose it.
Hell, right now, because
let's rock the boat.
Let's do some math.
Let's not do that.
It's so depressing.
I was referring to sides of beef, by the way.
You also got to bear in mind that some of these streams are split, like I said, with other
it would be a great
artists that I work with.
Yeah.
I have 14,000. I can't read it. I'm so
14,685.
And how much money did I make?
$75.42.
Is that not the most pathetic thing you've ever heard in your life?
That's crazy. The numbers don't add up.
They do not.
If you had 14,000 people attend a concert, you better be walking away with more than $75.
They're coming up with
just my solo stuff. There's 6,000 streams just right there.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So even legacy artists, if they're selling, or if they're streaming millions, they're getting thousands for millions. That's pathetic.
Well, that's where the whole pushback is coming.
Yeah.
Because there's legacy artists that are actually starting to push back and are bringing. They are actually have filed a lawsuit, right?
Yes.
On it, yeah, to try to increase the payouts for streams because it's just not fair, and you can't purchase physical as much as people are streaming anymore. It's not as convenient. So people aren't buying albums. They're not buying CDs anymore. Occasionally, they're buying vinyl if they're into that. But it's a niche market.
Yeah.
And so you just can't make the same money that you could before on releases. And so these streams are what's taking the place of that income that you're not making anything off of, but these streaming services are making a ton of money. And a lot of times the people who created these streaming services and run these companies aren't even artists.
Spotify. That guy's not even a musician. He's never written a song, knows nothing about music at all. But he's great at ripping you off and taking your money. But they say it's a necessary evil. But is it? It's a necessary evil if you're a legacy artist. Now they're saying that they're changing the rules, so if you don't make a certain amount of streams per month anyways, they're not going to pay you anything. Ugh. So they're just robbing you. That's robbery. So even though I didn't stream a certain amount, the streams that I did stream, I don't get any money for? That doesn't...
Well, so I remember, was it maybe 4 or 5 years ago, during the COVID shutdowns, this really got brought into the public eye in a very more openly relatable way.
Everyone was like, we need the streaming money. We need the streaming money.
It was Disney, because they were releasing some of the movies that were supposed to come out in theaters, went straight to streaming. Now, during the shutdown, that was, what else could you do?
Yeah.
Whatever. But was it Scarlett Johansson filed a lawsuit because part of her contract was that she was going to get X percentage of box office ticket sales.
I remember that.
And then because it went straight to streaming, she didn't get anything.
Yeah.
And so there was a big. I think that's a more
I think her argument too was that initially it was going to theater, so she it wasn't like she was like, I thought it was going to theater. It was going.
Yeah.
The contract was for her to get receipts based on the box office, some kind of compensation from that.
Correct.
It's hokey.
But in the relation to what you're speaking about with music, it's in that same vein where you're robbing the artist that has put their craft and their work into creating this entertainment.
That's nothing compared to what's coming with AI. I mean, they already have a song on the country charts, I think. Yeah. Somebody said country. I haven't looked it up. I haven't listened to it, but I heard about it on Facebook, so it's got to be real.
Well, that's been talked about for a long time. That's been talked about for a long time. They were talking about how was it Norway or Sweden, where they were creating music based on formula, and they were all becoming top.
And what they were doing is they were taking
to make their own music.
Yeah, because AI can't create its own
and having AI create a song like that song.
Well, it creates its own material, but it's using other people's to do it.
It has to sample. It has to sample. It can't generate.
But at the same time, as an artist,
I don't care how good AI gets. You're not going to get heart and soul in an AI. It's just it's not going to happen. Yeah. I've seen some of the artwork, and you look closely, and there's 6 digits on one hand. It's But in this day and age, the thing that gets me the most about musicians at any level is, why the fuck are you not a union musician? If you're not a union musician, what are you doing? Who's protecting you? Where are you getting health insurance? If you're someone that only makes music and you're not a union musician, you are doing it wrong. You need to be a union musician. I know it's a little bit more difficult in Florida because there's no protection from unions down here, but with the resources that the union gives you, how I found most of my musicians that are of an elite level, speaking of the Pink Floyd show we're going to be doing at Swan Brewing, our sax player Butch Thomas has played for Sting, Lenny Kravitz, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
But you're not going to find those people on the sidewalk. You need to have connections with people that are up there. That bass player? You mean Bill?
That bass player.
I don't like him.
He's evil. He is.
He's evil Bill.
Whenever someone says they're my close friend, I'm immediately suspect, unless it's Bill. He gets to say he's my close friend because he does come to my house quite frequently. But I don't want to talk about him. Ew.
Just because he's maybe built one of your guitars or something?
Yeah. We joke because every project I have has Bill in it. But I digress. Yeah, speaking about the protections and stuff, people should be in a union. I mean, you get insurance for your gear if something goes wrong, and those are the people that are fighting to get fair wages for Spotify and iTunes. It's just what is it? Maybe a couple $100 we pay a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how does this union? How much does it cover? Because I've even considered renting drum kits, for bands and stuff when they're hurting for something, but I haven't done it because where's my insurance if I throw out? And I mean, like we talked about earlier, we were talking about the cost of brass. Cymbals aren't cheap, and if I was to rent a kid out to a bigger name band for a gig, I'm likely to be putting out $3,000-$4,000 worth of brass on that kit, not to mention the stands, the kit itself.
So with the insurance that I get you can get from the union, I don't think mine was from the union, but they offer the same one. They offer it cheaper. I had my insurance first, unfortunately. So basically, if you're playing a gig and something happens, someone trips over your stuff, it's covered.
Pretty much liability.
Yeah,
insurance.
It's covered.
Well, it's not covering them. It's covering your equipment.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting. This is my first time ever even hearing about musician unions. Now, granted, I'm not a professional musician.
I can tell you why they're worth the dues right away. We recently played a big venue that held hundreds of people. I'm not going to say what it is, but the person that was in charge of it tried to bilk me $1,000 a week before the show. We had already sold 235 tickets. But I already had a contract with the union, and I called my rep to make sure everything was good. And I told the guy, I'm like, I'm not going to give you $1,000. He's like, well, you're going to do this, or you're not going to play. I'm like, if you do this and I don't play, I still get paid the full amount per contract.
Yeah.
And the union, they will go after you. I don't want that to happen. And I was being nice to this guy. You know, he's being, ridiculous, and he's clearly not a professional. What he is, I don't want to. Because I don't want to throw him under the bus, because it's funny, because the people that do know who he is have all warned me that he was a scumbag and I should not deal with this person. But I was dealing with the venue. I care about the venue. I don't care about the individual.
Yeah.
And this person had just taken over running this venue. Now, if I hadn't have done that, I would have had to pay that $1,000. Who's going to have my back? Who would have fought for me?
Yeah.
I'd have been on my own. But the union, and I was on the phone with them, and they told me right off the bat, stay calm, stay cool, you're getting your money, no matter what happens. He's probably just, bluffing you, just being, unprofessional, which is exactly what he was trying to do. They do this to people.
Or just a dick.
They do this to people who don't have the means to defend themselves. But when that person, like me, is smart enough to cover all bases, they get angry. Matter of fact, the last thing he said to me is, well, I'm going to talk to my lawyers and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Well, the funny thing is, I played the show. I got everything I said I was going to get. I made them more money than they've made all year. And he didn't even show up to the show and face me like a coward. So that's why you need to have someone behind you. You can be a great musician, but if you don't have someone behind you helping you, you can only go so far. Like, I don't know all the ins and outs about the music business. Sometimes there's a question that I need to have answered. And at the time, I think it was Mike Avila was the head of the union. I called that guy up. In 10 seconds, he told me everything I needed to know about the situation that I was in and how to move forward. Like, you need that. You need someone that knows the ins and outs of the business, because you're not going to know it. And the person that teaches themselves is an idiot. Because you can't teach yourself. You have to have someone that has experience. Or the new guy, Sam. I think it's Sam Zambino's the guy that's the interim president. Again, he was the one I called for that contract thing. These guys, they when you make a phone call, they call you back.
Well,
you need that.
There's so much into the music. I mean, again, I don't know, but there's the legal side, there's the finance side, there's the copyright side, which kind of falls under legal. Yeah. There's live show contracts.
If you're spending all your time learning all that, you can't be a musician.
Yeah, and you need to have someone you can bounce questions off. I mean, these people, some of them have been in business, 50, 60 years for crying out loud.
And they have base contracts that you can have very, very clear steps of what you fill into each of them. So you don't have to directly contact the union and have them step you through it. You can just pull the contract off of their site and then fill it in. It's a fillable PDF.
That's awesome.
And it is a generalized contract that you can put in the terms that you and the venue have agreed upon. And then once you submit that to the union, they back that contract. So if something goes wrong, they'll send their lawyers.
So I mean, kind of in summary, it's like that old phrase, a jack of all trades is a master of none.
Yeah.
And so if you try to do all of it, you're going to fail at all of it, because you have to be such a master of the legal side, being a good musician first and foremost, being a good showman, and all these other facets. So you need to focus on the part that you want to play.
The music part's the easiest part. Forget about the music.
Well, back when the record labels had control
of the business part where you need the help. You need support. I mean,
but that's my point. If you're so focused on trying to be the knowledgeable person, to be the support for yourself, you're going to suffer musically because you're so focused on that.
They would have never made it. Yeah.
Dedicate to it.
Well, the production companies they do that, but that's only if you're at a certain level and you're big enough. And it's not as easy now, because legacy artists keep holding on and holding on and holding on. So there's so much smaller of a market for new emerging artists. So the producers, the production companies, the labels, they handled all of these marketing, your legal side in the past. But you can't.
It's not there now.
It's not there now, and it's not as easy to come by. You're not going to be spotted or
We're talking about
scouted
that the
at
other
a
night.
show.
A&R reps that go to venues don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
What they do is they look at your social media.
They
That's
scroll
all that
TikTok.
matters.
They scroll TikTok.
It's TikTok and
How
social
popular
media.
are
They
you?
do. They look
Yeah.
at YouTube. They look at TikTok.
What kind of numbers do
That's
you
why
have?
when someone's like, why do you put videos up every day? I'm like, you have to. You've got to keep it out there. You've got to build it up. I do everything from the Spanish guitar stuff to the Pro Tools stuff to the crazy shred stuff, because the kids love the crazy shred stuff. You know?
Product
So
reviews.
do the
product
lessons.
reviews.
So do the adults.
Yeah, so the adults.
Yeah, we're all
But-
kids.
But really,
Grown up kids.
the thing is being
I
able
just
to
got
change.
older.
The thing is being able to change, and when you're changing like we have since social media, the union has answers to questions that I don't have. You know, and I don't understand why any musician wouldn't do it anyway. It's a write-off. If you're a full-time musician and that's what you do, dude.
It's a tax write-off.
Yeah, shit or get off the
Dues for a
pot.
tax
Be a
write-off.
real musician. Fucking join the union. You know.
Well, and wouldn't you rather have the place to go in the backing if you needed it than be completely alone if you got into a bad situation? Like,
Yeah.
even if there's nothing that they can directly do for you,
But-
at least then you can ask and they can point you in the correct direction.
But then
No,
you're
absolutely.
facing other problems, and I hate to bring it up, but you got people that'll go out and play for nothing because they don't need the income.
But they're never any good.
Yeah.
Sometimes
They're
they
never
are.
any good.
Sometimes they are, and
Nah.
they can
That's
play.
the thing about
but they're
talent.
retired. They're already retired from a different business, whatever, or even from music mostly.
I've yet
But
to
they don't
see
have the
anyone
same
with any
level
real
of
talent.
commitment as well. They don't have the same level of commitment of someone who is a full-time musician and is out there doing it every day.
Oh,
They're more likely to cancel
No,
the gig on your
absolutely
venue.
not. But they're eating up those spots that you cannot.
I mean,
get
how many
back.
Yeah,
spots
but
are they eating
what venue that is reputable and is reasonable is playing having people
like
play
Hard
gigs
Rock.
for free?
Hard Rock's not going to put on those retired guys. They're going to put on the people that
See,
have
now,
the numbers.
if I make a comment, I want to get hate. So I'm not going to say what venues, but I will say there are certain types of venues I won't play. If it's a place that I wouldn't go to and hang out myself, why would I expect other people to go to? If it's a dive bar,
Especially your audience.
what is it doing for you? Maybe you're getting a couple of bucks or something, but I'm like, I don't want to play for 12 booger-eating hillbillies at some, cigarette smoking, we got the cheapest beer, because I'm going to get great tips when you have the cheapest beer. Those are places I play. There's very few bars I play. The one bar I can say in particular is the Bottle House. The reason why I play the Bottle House, because that place kicks fucking ass.
Yeah.
That's a place people go to see a rock show. And that's the shit I like to do.
And-
I like to rock out like a motherfucker, and those people eat it up. But
And the owner's
I don't
a
like
great
smoking.
guy who has a lot of connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bubba's like family. I mean, at this
Yeah.
point, like,
No, I
that guy
haven't
is
been
so
there.
good.
Where's it at?
It's in Riverview.
Riverview.
This guy's so good.
Okay.
He
I've
goes,
been to
hey, I'm going to
Riverview.
give you $200 more because you guys are worth it. What
Those are the type of
club
videos.
owner does that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
The,
when
the
people
kind
look
that
at
knows what brings the crowd in.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at my schedule at
Like, I
any
can
time,
value
and you can
people.
see the clubs that I play, and you'd be like, wow, why doesn't he play this place? Because it's a dive bar. I don't play dive bars. Sorry. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to make you better. It's not going to make you look better. Because the people that want to see good music, they don't want to go to a shitty venue. They want to go to some place where they can relax and have fun and feel comfortable. Like Grove Roots. Grove Roots, I guess it's technically not even really a music venue, right? Really?
I mean, it's a brewery, but
It's
yeah.
a brewery, but it's one of the greatest places to play. The people that are
And
friendly.
they don't have a dedicated stage or
No.
anything. They got the
No,
little
and
corner outside.
That's
in
an
the
exception to
patio.
my rule. Now,
Yeah.
having said that, Classic Rock Legacy, the band I'm in that does like albums, like they do like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon we're doing right now. We did Abbey Road. We did all that stuff. That place doesn't play any place that doesn't do a ticketed event, and they only do theaters. The only reason why we're doing Swan Brewing, which is our first ever non-ticketed event, is because I love that venue, and those people treat me with respect. So the people that treat me with respect, I treat with respect back, and we make each other money.
And
That's it.
on
That
top of
should be the
it,
way it
That's
works
it.
anyway.
Yeah.
on top of
Yeah.
it, every gig you book, everything that you put out, you need to have the question of, what is this doing for my career? What is this doing for my music? Is this a good steward for my music?
It was actually her that got me to do that, because I was booking all these danky places with shitty oysters and all that stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she was like, "Why are you bothering with this? Like, what is it getting you ahead?" And she's absolutely right. You don't want to play places that people don't want to go to.
Yeah.
Simple. Simple as that. And that's the thing that I rule by. So if I'm an awful person because I don't want to play, Jedediah's crap hut.
There's people for that. There's people for that. Like you said, the retired people who don't care how much they're making. Those are the type of people that should be playing those venues.
Yeah, those people, they're not playing the Ritz Theater. They're not playing the bigger. They're not.
Yeah, they're not playing stadiums. They're not playing the Hard Rock. They're not
doing that.
And they shouldn't be. That's not the venue for them.
Yeah,
they're taking away from people.
Big venues is hard work.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
No matter how.
And then the big venues though is I don't know. Is it better to make money in the big venues or like?
Yes.
I want to call one place out, and I know it's probably one of them you're talking about. Cherry Pop.
So I've never played there. I did a thing with Blake there once though. I did like a duet thing with him, but I don't want to denigrate places because I'm sure people like that place. I'm not going to go down that road,
but like to your question you were asking, I was listening to I think it was Two Bears One Cave, the comedy podcast with Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. And they were talking about how they each do comedy shows differently. Bert likes to do stadiums. He wants bigger, more people, big crowd. And he talked about how he likes the attention, but he also tapped into how he makes a whole bunch of money from these shows. It's a lot more work. It's a lot different being on that stage in front of all those people. And
but it's a bigger production.
Correct. But Tom Segura doesn't like that. He likes to play small, intimate theaters. He feels like he connects with his audience more on that, and he performs better. And Bert was giving him a hard time because he doesn't make quite as much money as he does in the big stadiums. And they went back and forth about the whole thing. And they're both awesome. I love their comedy.
Oh, you know who we need to get for that conversation?
Huh?
John Mellencamp.
Let me just call him up. Hey, Cougar.
You guys
what you doing, man?
No,
well, the thing is,
you don't think I could do that?
Do it.
John, Roadkill's calling you tomorrow, and we need to hook up.
Come on down for a podcast.
Yeah. The thing is, with those big shows, like the ones I'm talking about,
it's just been a lifelong dream that I sit down with John Mellencamp, smoke a joint. I know he still smokes cigarettes. He'll probably still smoke a blunt. But sit down with him, just smoke one, and just hang. Not at his house, not at my house, wherever,
I could feel the table going higher.
I know, and this is a heavy table.
I mean, not much higher, like about this much higher.
Oh, shit, I got 4 inches to hit the table.
It's my father-in-law, folks.
No. Wait till you see me naked.
What do you mean wait? What do you mean wait?
Let's get back on track here. Because no one wants to talk about your little pizza. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you started it.
But no, like with
swing at me.
Obviously,
it all comes back to swing at me.
No, with the bigger shows like that classic rock legacy thing I do, like that's a huge investment in us time-wise, rehearsing and like. When we get there, usually the show's like 7 o'clock, and we get there at noon?
Noon usually.
We have to set up in-ears. We've got to set up.
We also don't have roadies. So it's me.
And for the Pink Floyd thing, we had laser lights at the Ritz Theater. We played Wizard of Oz. We have the film screen going on behind us. There's a lot going on, so you're getting your money's worth. But one of those shows is like me playing like 5 shows money-wise.
Yeah.
We make money.
Yeah, it's like a month
we make
of work.
a lot of money, but. We put in a lot of work, and we make those places money.
But
so
when you're making twice the work and making 5 times the money, it just makes sense.
It does. Yeah. And a lot of times
if you're
for one
doing
show,
5 times the work for half the money.
Yeah.
Now, kind of circle back to how we started this whole conversation. The big hurdle is getting from that place where you're, I don't want to say playing the dive bars, but where you're at that point where you're making $200 from some club owner who's gonna whatever go play, and getting to the point that those big clubs are willing to let you in on that big work and that big money payout in the end of it. That's the big hurdle, and usually that journey is filled with. I mean, if you go back to like classic days when you would have scouts showing up at your shows.
Oh yeah, I used to be in a band called Letdown. And we were like one of those almost made it. We opened for Godsmack, Mudvayne, Seethers, Social Burn, Chevelle, Zach Wild. the biggest bands on the planet. The only reason why we stopped is my son. My wife got pregnant at the time with my son, and I stopped playing music to raise my son. But at that time, we were scouted. That's how we got to play all these shows.
Yeah.
We got to play some of the biggest. As a matter of fact, there's a video on my YouTube channel. If you look up the Mighty Letdown on YouTube of us opening for Godsmack. It's one of the videos that's up there. It was one of the greatest times of my life. But do I want to keep going with that and I want to raise a baby on the road, or am I gonna?
Yeah.
So I stopped playing for the longest time. And then when I came back after he pretty much grew up, it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, that was the
advent.
traditional way of you would play these crappy venues and play these crappy venues, and then eventually another kind of almost made it band will have you open for them, and then
you
that
work up
band
the
makes
step ladder,
it. You work up the step ladder. That traditional route doesn't exist anymore. It's
Exactly.
all in social media.
That's what I was talking about. Like and it wasn't a slow shift either. It was a bam.
Yeah.
We're here now, and all that support system from that original stepladder is gone, and now you have to figure out the social media route, and it's so coming from. I'm producing podcasts.
Yeah.
I've never done anything like this before. I'm learning as we go.
Yep.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
But like I'm learning as we go, and there's so much to learn, and it's such a hefty thing. I can't just make videos and hope somebody out there just goes, let's give this thing a chance to grow and start feeding it. No one's gonna do that for me.
You've got to effectively market it yourself.
Yeah.
A venue wants a package already put together. They want something that they know is going to put butts in seats. They know that it is proven. Here's the amount of followers you have. Here's that reach in this area. Here's what we're doing from a marketing perspective to market this show. Here's the connections we have for that, and they want that already pre-built in before they're going to give you a venue. So you've got to build it up beforehand, and it's about figuring it out. You've just got to figure it out.
That it is still valuable for people that are new musicians to play these venues.
Yes.
Now, sometimes you're going to play a janky venue, but you're learning your art. Playing live and playing on social media is two completely different things.
Oh, no, agree. I'm not trying to
way
downplay
better
it.
live than when I'm sitting in front of a camera doing some stupid tapping thing. You know what I mean?
But what you end up doing in front of the camera now is what you've worked out from doing live shows.
Yeah.
Oh,
So there is value in doing the live shows and doing these small venues, but you have to realize just doing the small venues is not going to do it.
You're not going to find the wider audience there.
You're never going to be an Olympian lifting weights in your garage. You have to go to the contest.
Oh,
you
you
have
talked
to
about lifting weights.
You see what I did
My
there?
second favorite thing.
You see what I did
And
there?
the other reason you stopped playing for a while.
That's true.
Exactly.
You used to compete, right?
No, I never
I'm gonna
competed,
sneak
but
up
I was
for a second
powerlifting,
for this.
and I was being stupid, and I was on the sled, and I had 1,000 pounds on, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not a lot of weight for legs. And on the way down, I already had a tear and didn't know it in my stomach, and I ripped it completely open. So I didn't play for long. I couldn't even hold a guitar for the longest amount of time. And the best part is I went to get it fixed, and they gave me that mesh that everybody's suing over, and it ripped.
no.
And not only did it rip, it fell inside of my stomach, so it's still there. So when they fixed it, they're like, look, we can either go in there and try digging it out and doing more harm. So I actually have money coming from a lawsuit from that. So
Wow.
yeah, that sucked. And I actually had given up on music. The only reason why I started playing again is she bought me a Spanish guitar. And she's like, what guitar would you play if you could have any guitar? And I already knew what it was going to be. I wanted a Spanish guitar. So she ordered me one. And I'm like, well, who's going to want to hear me play Spanish guitar? Fast forward, and that's how I make the majority of my money, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my Achilles heel.
Well,
I love lifting weights.
Your
I love
solo
lifting
excuse
weights.
over and over was, well, I don't have an electric Spanish guitar to go play solo with, and so I was
And
like,
now I'm
here
endorsed
you
by
go.
Godane guitars.
That's awesome. Good Dane.
Yep.
Really?
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It gave me a multi-act AC. It's so good. So all the videos I do online, 9 times out of 10 of that guitar. Every once in a while I do the Yamaha guitar that I have. The only reason why is because it has a snare drum built on it, so I can do percussion and loop it, like loop the percussion.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah, hollow body versus solid body.
Yeah.
Godin solid, and then the Yamaha.
I'm trying to figure out a way to do it on the Godane Solid Body, and I'm on there. But rewinding just a quick second when we're talking about finding your audience, the other thing about finding your audience when you're doing it live is don't play for your friends. Your friends are going to clap whether they like you or not. You need to go to places that you're a stranger in. And if you can win them over with your music and they don't know who the fuck you are, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
That's our goal whenever I play a new venue and she's not there and I'm on my own. I'm flying by myself. I have no support. My goal is I'm going to fucking win you over. You're going to love this shit. I'm playing upside down and I'm doing all the stupid shit. And 9 times out of 10 it works. Every once in a while I get more booger-eating hillbillies. Freebird! You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing is I don't play any Southern rock. I just don't. It's not in my wheelhouse. It's not what I do.
Raised in Boston playing Southern rock just feels wrong.
Yeah. It's not gonna fly.
I can understand that because when I was playing, when I was aspiring to be a musician, I remember making music, and my family was very supportive. And I'm not trying to downplay their support in any way. I absolutely love and appreciate every bit of support they gave. But they would come out and be like, "You're really good." And they'd like, "Why don't you like?" I would have those days where I would play for strangers and I wouldn't win anybody over, and I would come back and be a little bummed out. I'd start having that existential crisis.
It makes you raise the fire like I'm gonna get you next time, motherfucker.
A little bit, but but you have that. Sometimes you have that depressive slump, especially when you're brand new at it. And you're just like, oh, I've never felt that level of just ignored before.
Yeah,
when you have that first depressive slump, and I remember your family and your friends would come in and be like, "You're really good. We love your music," and I'm like, "Yeah,
you don't need that. Yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah.
I know it's a shitty thing to say. I mean, obviously you want to play for your friends and loved ones, but you can't. That critique means nothing. What means the most is when someone you don't know. My favorite is that one on the YouTube video where the guy was like, "You are the greatest guitar player that no one knows." It's my favorite fucking comment. He's like,
that's an awesome comment.
You need to be heard. So people, you need to find them. He's the guy you want to find.
Well, those are going to be the people that are going to be friends of your music and your art. Those are the people that are going to share it with other people, like your friends and your family. Okay, they're going to share it among the other people that you already know, but it's not going to go past that.
Well, yeah.
Whereas these people that you don't know,
she's nailed it.
It's going to reach a much broader audience. They're going to tell someone else, "Hey, have you seen this guy on YouTube or TikTok?" And then they're going to tell 3 other people, and then it's just going to keep branching and keep branching.
On that same note, to simplify that a little bit, it's the difference between your family knowing you for you, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, and they do music," versus the person that just goes, "Dude, this musician."
Yes.
And then that's how they know you. Is
you know when I feel
front.
the best about my music, and I'm a novice.
Is it going to be a John Cougar thing?
I could make it one. but really, I forgot where I was going with that.
When you feel real good.
You said Cougar.
When you feel
Jack
real good
and
about your
Diane
music.
feels so good. Tables raising. I can't lift
It's
the
got
table.
steel
This is a
legs
heavy
too. That's
table.
impressive.
The table didn't come up. I'm telling you. I can't lift it. But where was I going with that?
I have no idea.
When you
I
feel
don't-
really
when you
good
feel
about
good-
your music, friends versus...
I'm still again. Is when I'm at a not necessarily even a venue because I don't get to play big venues or anything, but when I go someplace where there's a lot of other musicians there that I know are good musicians, and that's when I really try to step up my game, and be as solid as I can and be impressive. And then at the end of the day, when those people are telling me, "Oh, you did a good job," that's when I feel blessed more than
because
in front of a bunch of people.
Nothing makes you better as a
You know.
musician than playing with better musicians. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Like I consider myself a pretty damn good musician, but holy shit, is Jessie Rose a musician? She's like one of my oldest childhood friends, and she is the fucking beast on piano. And she plays for the Pink Floyd thing we do and the Beatles thing we do.
Okay,
She plays with her hands and her feet simultaneously while doing all the sound effects for Pink Floyd. The "Look, Mummy, there's an airplane up in the sky." All that stupid
So she
shit.
plays drums too.
Basically.
Pretty much.
Oh, by the way,
But-
Dan plays drums 10 times better than me.
Aw,
guitarist.
shucks. I actually play drums
one of them
as
guys.
much as I play guitar. I play bass as much as I play
said one of
guitar.
them
It's just I don't make a lot of videos
He just doesn't
of
do
that.
anything.
Well,
you
every
know?
musician, especially every versatile instrument, has that one home instrument that's
Yeah.
your soul, that's your core. You can do other things, but that's your core is what you play.
And I'd like to do a lot of like string orchestration too. It's funny, the last couple songs there's almost no guitar in it at all. It's almost all drums, fretless bass, and strings and piano.
Yeah, you've been really digging fretless lately. You've really
I got a
been
6-string
playing
fretless bass, and I love it more than life itself.
Have you seen the guy that like he's a bassist primarily, but he like invents like he's got one guitar. The whole neck is a spindle, and there's every.
I saw that. It spins around.
Have you seen that?
Yeah,
like a damn Gatling gun.
You know,
that
you know who you'll know that's my hero is that Stapario guy.
shit. Oh, that is.
Oh my God, he's the best drummer in the world.
I mean, his feet are faster than Neil Peart.
He's funny. He's like, oh, this is how the song goes,
Just,
and he plays it better than the fucking
I
song.
love you, Neil, but
Oh, I love that guy. I watch his videos every single day. Forget about just guitar. I mean, you should like pay attention to everything. When I see talent, I want to soak it up. I love that
you
guy.
need to hook up with him because you and your Spanish guitar shred the crazy shit and his crazy feet.
His rhythms was like he's doing the. I saw one he was doing like cowbell with his feet while doing double kick on one pedal.
He does. I can't keep up.
Oh, that guy's
I can't
my
even
hero.
watch him and see what he's doing.
Oh, I love that guy. I love that guy. I love him so much.
But
He's
he does
so good.
play Varus drums, and Varus, if you're listening,
Yeah.
you're an English company, I think. I love your drums. Please bring me a kit. I will talk about
instrument,
you at every podcast.
Is it a bass and a guitar?
I think he has.
I think it's a bass and a guitar.
I don't know enough
But
about to
Varus
really
drums
say
are
what it is, but it
beautiful, by the
looked
way.
like he had every scale from a low D string
Yeah.
all the way
He was
up.
spinning that son of a bitch.
All the way around.
Oh,
It spun. It was nuts.
I love that shit. That's the problem. Is like some musicians see that stuff and they're like, oh, like well, they poo poo it, but like pay attention to it.
Yeah.
See, get what you like out of it, and take.
What can you
and
learn
put
from
back.
it?
Yeah, what can you learn?
It's
from
obviously
it?
resonating with an audience for a reason. What can you learn from that? What can you incorporate it?
The best thing I can say too, we did a Spanish guitar video where I did this really crazy Spanish thing, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's so great!" And I did the same thing with the electric guitar, and they're like, "Oh, he sucks. He's just trying to be too fast." You're the same person that said how great that was on the Spanish guitar, but it's the same thing. It was a test I did. And what's funny
Really
is
funny.
when people do negative things and they dislike things, it actually helps your channel.
Still engagement.
It's still engagement.
Well, was
So,
it? There's no such thing as bad PR.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as bad engagement. Like,
Yeah.
and even on top of it, if it is really bad or
So
anything,
you're gonna let me loose for the rest of the podcast?
we got to wrap this one up here in just a moment.
Yeah,
so
we
I want
do.
you guys to be able to plug in some of the stuff you guys got coming up if you want to. A little bit about where we can find your
And talk
band,
about
your music.
the links that we put below. You gotta do this thing.
Well, before anything, I encourage every
learning.
person that's watching this that's a musician to join the union, or look into it. Looking to see what benefits they have.
Absolutely.
Let's see. I'm with Evil Bill and the Struggle Bus. April.
Who's that guy?
12th. I love Bill. I joke around, but I love that dude. And the next show is with Bill too. April 13th, we're going to be at Grove Roots doing a night of Beatles from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
there is the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon.
That's the big
show
one. On the
at
19th, we're going to be doing
Swan
all of
Room.
Dark Side of the Moon. And then after we finish the Dark Side of the Moon album, we're going to do a greatest hits like Shine on You Crazy Diamond, I'll Wish You Were Here, all that type of stuff. And you can go to danielpepinmusic.com to get all those dates.
When are you gonna do animals?
It's funny because Dan,
That
who
is my
owns Swan
favorite-
Brewing, last minute he
album.
was like, "You should do animals." I'm like, "You can't tell me that in a week." I'm like, it took us.
Let's do animals.
But yeah, that's something we're actually. I think it was Josh that wanted to do dogs, so we got to do this one. But it's probably going to wind up happening. I know.
I like pick 3 different ones.
We're after Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. I know we're doing Abbey Road again, and then we're going to go back to Floyd. Yeah. So
Lots of really cool stuff.
Jess. You need, every band needs a Jess.
And
Everybody
then
needs a
on
Jess.
all of the social medias, Daniel Pepin. So TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. You gotta do these things.
Just look for the purple
why I
hair.
got you
Look for
there
the
for.
purple hair.
Purple hair and unicorns.
But yeah, DanielPepinmusic.com, all that stuff.
Podcast, Roadkill Dinner Jams. You're all over the place.
I'm a busy bitch.
And he eats well.
It's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. It's
I
not a
didn't
bad thing.
get this physique
There
by
were
eating
there were
lettuce.
no
know?
leftovers at the dinner jam when Dan was here.
There were no
it.
No
all of
leftovers.
them.
There's no fucking
None.
people. Ate them too. I don't give a shit.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for the Roadkill podcast, sponsored by Roadkill Custom Drum Company and Commercial Refrigeration for all your refrigeration needs. And I'm sure they do have something that can fit a body, Dan.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
And a side of beef.
And a side
I'm not saying it's
Get
sweet
me
as
a
meat
cow.
anymore.
I'll
You
fucking take a bite out of it, ride the rest home, and put it in the fridge. How's that for a plug?
That's great. On that note, guys, let's head outside and get some refreshing drinks, all right?